Okay, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unlock the single most vital tool in a strategy consultant's arsenal. We're talking about making that massive shift from just wildly chasing unstructured data to building a crystal clear, complete problem-solving mindset. Honestly, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by a huge, chaotic business problem, the methodology we are about to cover is exactly what you need. We're diving into a framework designed to ensure your strategic thinking has absolutely zero overlaps and zero blind spots. Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The core of strategy. 2. Defining the MECE framework. 3. The 3 fatal framework flaws. 4. A real-world SaaS revenue case study. And finally, 5. A quality check quiz to lock it all in. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the core of strategy, completeness and clarity. And that takes us right into section 2, defining the MECE framework, its origins and meaning. Whether you're trying to ace an interview at McKinsey, Bain, or BCG, or you just want to avoid embarrassing structural errors in your complex business models, this concept is going to act as your ultimate guardrail. But to really grasp how powerful this is, we kind of have to travel back in time to the late 1960s. Barbara Minto pioneered this concept, introducing it as the engine for something that literally revolutionized how corporate leaders share complex ideas. You see, as the first female MBA ever hired at McKinsey, Minto quickly realized that all these highly intelligent consultants were really struggling to communicate their brilliant findings in a way that executives could actually digest and trust. So, her solution? She called it the pyramid principle. It's a structured communication framework that dictates your executive conclusion has to be stated right at the top, first thing. And then it's supported by logically related, perfectly categorized arguments stacked underneath it. Now, what's really interesting here is the question this whole structure begs. How do you actually guarantee that those supporting arguments stacked underneath are totally flawless? Because think about it, if the foundation is weak, the whole pyramid just collapses. Well, to build that flawless foundation, you use MECE. Let's compare the two foundational pillars of this acronym side by side so we can understand exactly how they create a perfectly airtight argument. MECE simply stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. Let's break that down. First, mutually exclusive. This just means your categories never, ever overlap. It ensures every individual data point or driver fits neatly into one and only one bucket. Think of it like magnetic circles violently pushing apart from one another. The absolutely crucial point here is that there is zero ambiguity, zero duplication, and zero double counting in your analysis. If a data point belongs in bucket A, it literally cannot exist in bucket B. Second, we have collectively exhaustive. This rule ensures there are no forgotten data points or hidden blind spots left out of your architecture. Picture a perfectly, completely assembled puzzle. All the possible options or elements are entirely covered. So when you combine these two principles, mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, you guarantee your business analysis is perfectly segmented and comprehensively sound. Moving on to section 3, 3 fatal framework flaws, or why business models collapse. Now, I know the concept of MECE sounds super simple in theory, right? But applying it in real-world consulting engagements is notoriously difficult. Senior consultants really distinguish themselves by spotting and avoiding 3 massive hurdles that cause business models to completely fall apart. We're talking about overlapping dimensions, logical gaps, and mixed abstraction. Let's look at exactly how these traps catch people off guard. Flaw number 1 is overlapping dimensions, and this happens all the time during market segmentation. Overlapping dimensions pop up when you accidentally mix demographic data with behavioral data. It creates massive duplication. Why? Because a millennial can easily be an online shopper. If you send a survey to your millennial bucket and your online shopper bucket, you are going to double count the exact same person, ruin your entire structure, and probably get a very angry email from your boss. Flaw number 2 is logical gaps. These happen when you omit a crucial piece of the puzzle, causing your entire financial model to collapse because it just isn't collectively exhaustive anymore. Think about it. If you're calculating total business expenses and you map out salaries, rent, and software, but you totally forget tax liabilities or depreciation, well, your executive conclusion is going to be dangerously wrong because your data has a massive blind spot. And flaw 3 is mixed abstraction. This is a subtle but incredibly deadly trap. It's when you mistakenly place a massive macro driver at the exact same horizontal tier as a tiny granular metric. In a proper MECE issue tree, every single category at the same horizontal level must exist at the same conceptual depth. You simply cannot compare a huge initiative like global market expansion side by side with a hyper-specific metric like a website conversion rate. It just doesn't make sense. So how do we avoid these errors? You perform what's called the consultant's quality check. You isolate for distinctness, complete for exactly 100% of the parent problem, and align for consistent abstraction. By isolating, you dodge those overlaps. By completing, you ensure the mathematical sum actually equals 100%, leaving absolutely no gaps. And by aligning, you maintain that consistent conceptual depth across your entire structure. All right, section 4. Let's look at a real-world case study on SaaS revenue optimization. Imagine this scenario. The executives are completely panicked because revenue is suddenly flatlining. How do we apply MECE to diagnose this? Well, instead of hunting wildly through 50 different marketing campaigns, we build a top-down MECE issue tree. We start with 2 perfectly mutually exclusive pillars that encompass all revenue. At Tier 1, we split total revenue into the number of customers on one side and the average revenue per customer on the other. These 2 elements are distinctly separate, and when multiplied together, they are collectively exhaustive of every single dollar the company makes. Now, stepping down to Tier 2 to maintain our level of abstraction, we perfectly segment the specific value drivers under each pillar without any overlap. Under our number of customers pillar, we break it down into acquisition rate, bringing users in, and churn rate, losing users. Over under average revenue, we map out the package mix, the base pricing levels, and the discounts applied. Look at that. We haven't skipped a single thing, and absolutely nothing overlaps. And this brilliantly illustrates how a massive, vaguely terrifying revenue issue is instantly transformed into a highly organized, evidence-based action plan for your team. We call this the bulletproof map. It prevents you from double-counting user behavior, it blocks those hidden revenue leaks, and best of all, it lets you assign specific team members to investigate isolated, clear-cut work streams without anyone stepping on each other's toes. It's a total game changer. Which brings us to Section 5, the Quality Check Quiz. To lock in everything we've learned today, let's wake our brains up and run through a rapid-fire consulting quality check. I really want you to actively think about the answers before I reveal them, okay? Let's test your memory on the historical origins of this incredible tool. Who developed the MECE framework as part of the pyramid principle at McKinsey Company in the late 1960s? Was it Michael Porter, Clayton Christensen, Peter Drucker? The answer is Barbara Minto. Her groundbreaking work completely laid the foundation for structured business communication globally, and her pyramid principle quite literally changed the game for strategy consultants everywhere. Okay, next question. Think carefully about those 3 fatal framework flaws we discussed earlier. Which of these 3 options is a direct MECE violation? Is it grouping by fixed and variable costs, grouping by online shoppers and millennials, or breaking revenue into customers and average revenue? If you guessed option B, you nailed it. Grouping online shoppers and millennials together mixes behavioral data right in with demographic data, creating disastrously overlapping buckets. A millennial can easily be an online shopper, which means those categories are absolutely not mutually exclusive. Mastering MECE is really what separates great strategy leaders from average thinkers. So I'll leave you with this. Look at the biggest, most chaotic problem on your desk right now. If you put it through the MECE filter today, what hidden blind spots would you instantly expose? Build your map, find the gaps, and watch the chaos turn into clarity. Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer.